Hello, guys. One more time, and welcome to. Oh my god, I don't have the crown. Wait. Hello, guys. One more time, and welcome to Ring Royalty. My name is Alexis, as you already know, and here today I am bringing Alex and back in the house. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
A bit tired, as you can see in my eyes, but we are here because we need to talk about women's wrestling. What's the topic of today?
Well, we're going for the top 10 underdog champions.
So, without anything left to say, let's start with this top 10.
So for number 10, we have Paige. First title reign, which she won by debuting against AJ Lee. I'm pretty damn sure everybody watching didn't expect her to win.
First of all, it was so unexpected because AJ just defeated all the division the night before, and I don't know, a newcomer coming in and taking the title was like, wow.
Didn't expect, as you said, the newcomer, the rookie in a way, to defeat her all of nowhere. So that was nice. I mean, it was a great way to debut Paige as well.
And I think she was obviously the underdog against AJ Lee, but then she played this underdog role for the rest of her first reign because she went against the likes of Tamina, who was way bigger and stronger than her, and then she faced crazy Alicia Fox a couple times, who was in her unhinged era. So I think Paige was always playing the babyface underdog champion role.
Like I said, the rookie, she was the newcomer, even though she was in NXT. She came out of nowhere, won, dominated the division for a while.
Paige was playing a placeholder because AJ left, and then they put the title right back on AJ when she came back, but still gave 3 or 4 months to Paige to be known by the WWE universe and also playing this underdog champion role, which was very unlikely because after that, Paige became one of the top names. I mean, it was nice for a first reign, and I think she did it okay.
Yeah, so it gave her the time to build her name. Yeah, she was great on NXT, but I feel like not everybody's watching it. Bigger platform as well to shine, and she managed well for her very young age and for her first title reign as well.
I agree with that. And let's continue with the underdogs for number 9, because at number 9 we have Kelly Kelly, a lot of people's favorites. So Kelly Kelly was always the underdog. Her whole career was based on being an underdog, but the Divas title reign she had in 2011 definitely portrayed that into a bigger scale. She won the title in this Power to the People Raw. She got the title opportunity out of nowhere, and she actually took the title from Brie. Then she had to defend against both Bellas, basically, because that was the era of Twin Magic. And then she faced the Glamazon for 3 pay-per-views in a row. So I guess she was always playing the underdog card, and the people were buying it because she was very likable.
Yeah, she had that cute, Tori Wilson kind of vibe, cute, and everybody likes her because she's pretty. And I mean, she wasn't the most talented, but she had that kind of charisma that made people like her. And defeating Beth Phoenix 2 or 3 times in a row, not a lot of people did that in their careers.
It was so surprising because there were 2 pay-per-views in a row where actually Kelly Kelly rolled up Beth Phoenix to retain her title. And okay, maybe once you can understand, but twice?
Hell in a Cell or something, or Night of Champion in Beth Phoenix's hometown.
Yes, at Night of Champion.
Probably everybody expected her to drop the title there, but she didn't. So in itself, that made her an underdog that night because damn, she was booed out of the building.
She totally was, but I think it worked for the underdog role that she was playing because Beth Phoenix was actually a menacing force. She was a threat. And for Kelly to defeat her twice and with roll-ups, not defeat her clean. So it was very opportunistic kind of way. I think it fit perfectly with her role.
At number 8, we're moving to Impact Wrestling or TNA, whatever you want to call it, with Taryn Terrell. Again, like most of the girls in the list, pretty much an underdog. When she started going for the title, she wasn't at the top of the division. Defeated Ava to win. Again, not a lot of people can say they've done that. As well as retaining in a battle royal, which again, not a lot of people have done.
Yeah, that featured all the Knockouts division. First of all, she surprised a lot of people when she jumped from WWE to TNA because she was sort of like a Kelly Kelly twin in WWE. but she branched out of these baby Barbie doll kind of mold in TNA. I don't think anybody expected her to actually win the title, and when she did, she was a good champion. Her matches were good, like you said, the Battle Royal or winning the title from Havoc and Gale. She defeated many other decorated knockouts because she defended against Madison Rayne and Angeline Love. So most of her contenders were actually superior on paper to her. But people still managed to get behind Taryn because she was so likable and playing this underdog role. Like, I am the one that is supposed to lose, but I am just going to find a way to win. And that was clever. I liked it.
Yeah, and the fact that she also defeated Kong, if I'm not mistaken, on more than one occasion, kind of remarkable. So
yeah, that's what elevated Taryn in the end. Well, before turning heel, and she obviously stopped being the underdog while being a heel, but defeating Kong,
the first one in a triple threat match where Taryn pinned Gail Kim,
and the second one just because of, I think, disqualification, was a way to still put Taryn up there without making Kong feel less of a threat. So well executed. At number 7, we are staying in Impact Wrestling because our pick is Allie. Now the Bunny in AEW, but back then Allie was such a lovely babyface. Like, she was literally built so perfectly that everybody wanted Allie to succeed. And she was being mistreated by Maria, Laurel, and Sienna. And winning the title against Laurel Bolness, who was a crazy, very dangerous opponent, was a perfect way to have a full circle moment with Allie. Defeating one of her bullies was just a perfect way for her to win the title. We're talking about the second title reign.
Underdog overcoming their bullies, as you said. When she came in, she was like a non-wrestler, even though everybody knows she's been wrestling for years. At the time, she hadn't really showcased what she could do in the ring. So defeating, again, Laurel, then later on, Su Yung. Not a lot of people probably didn't see her beat her at least once.
Yeah, because the title reign wasn't that long, but I think similar to the previous entries, most of the title defenses were against people that felt more powerful, like Laurel, Sienna as well, and obviously Su Yung, who was basically a demonic entity. And it was like, how is the Bunny going to defeat this demon? But she managed to once before dropping the title to Sue. But still, I think it was a well-built storyline, and her character was very solid by the time she became champion. So she was a great underdog.
For number 6, we're again staying in Impact Wrestling for, I believe, perhaps the biggest underdog in TNA, or one of in Velvet Sky. Both title reigns for Velvet Sky were kind of underdog compared to perhaps Paige, who was the first one. She won in a 4-way. Probably not a lot of people saw coming. She lost it quickly though, which was kind of sad because she's been building it for years.
Yeah, I remember like the first title reign when she was getting bullied and harassed by Karen Jarrett for months. It was just such a pleasant moment to see Velvet win the title, just for her to drop it very soon. But she played, once again, the underdog to perfection. She was the definition of an underdog champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And her second reign, which was kind of longer, but again, she faced the like of Tara and Mickie James, who are on paper, like, no disrespect to Velvet, but like probably 10 times better than her in the ring. And also defeated Mickie injured as well in one of their defense.
That was super clever because Mickie James was still a babyface, but to make this even more interesting, because Velvet wouldn't really seem as an underdog if she's facing another babyface, they play this kayfabe injured angle so Mickie could see as a little bit heelish, taking advantage of the champion who was wounded, and that also helped Velvet to stay in the underdog character.
Yeah, Velvet's one of the ultimate underdog in my book, so it was nice. We like her.
Yeah, it's time that she gets more recognition because out of Madison and Angelina, who are the other 2 members of the Beautiful People, I think they always get praised by all the accomplishments they have during their careers, whilst Velvet is just diminished each and every time. So kudos to you, Velvet.
Kudos to her for like agreeing to stay in their shadow for so long. Not a lot of people would have done that, so kudos to her.
That too. At number 5, we're going back to WWE because we won't talk about 1, but 2 superstars that were criminally underrated during her stay in that company. And I'm talking about Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, the Iconics. Then winning the titles at WrestleMania was one of the most shocking things in the past couple years of the women's wrestling community. They were in a fatal four-way match against teams like Divas of Doom, including Beth Phoenix, Nia Jax and Tamina, who are just a force to be reckoned with, and Sasha Banks and Bayley, who are two out of the four horsewomen. On paper, like the Iconics were just there to play fillers in the card, and then they end up winning the whole damn thing. And the crowd's reception to their victory was also fantastic. They gave them a standing ovation. It was an ultimate underdog moment as well.
And I mean, everybody's been pushing for them to get something for so long. So even though you're supposed to boo at them, it was a feel-good moment for everybody.
And something else that is very uncommon is the fact that usually heels don't play underdog roles. All the challengers seem to be a threat to them. Like they seem like the weaker team despite being the champions.
They managed to do pretty damn well with what they had, which sadly for them wasn't a lot. Yeah, they faced at some point Nikki and Alexa, who on paper are bigger stars than them.
And yeah, the same happened when they were facing the Kabuki Warriors. Like Asuka and Kairi were up here, and the Iconics were just not getting, well, the recognition just because of the way they were booked. They played their role pretty well, and that's what I will always remember most from Iconics. The way that their characters were built to perfection. Maybe not in ring wise, but with promos and that type of stuff.
Again, very charismatic. I feel like it helped them, because if they were like boring and everything, they probably would have never won either. So
I think it's worthy to mention that they did it right.
for number 4, we're going with Carmella for SmackDown Women's title reign. Again, Carmella's an underdog pretty much from the start as well, facing Charlotte and Asuka and beating them more than once, even though she was like a heel and it was cheating and stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of impressive.
Yeah, everybody expected, I think, Carmella, after she cashed in on Charlotte, to lose the title pretty quickly. But no, she remained as champion for a while. She had 3 pay-per-view title defenses, like you said, against Charlotte and Asuka. They main evented WrestleMania that same year, so they were like the biggest star on the brand. And Carmella was just this up-and-comer superstar that won the title by cashing in the briefcase. Nobody expected her to defend the title against both of them, and she did.
Kind of a memorable title reign. She was impressive and she held her own, not only in the ring but in promos as well. Again, a very charismatic person. Bonus points for that.
And also, this is another example of these very few exceptions where heels play the underdog role. It didn't feel forced, because sometimes some babyfaces or heel are pushed down our throats. It just came naturally with Carmella. She was good at connecting with the crowd, and that could definitely be portrayed during her title reign.
Well, she didn't feel like overshadowed by either Charlotte or Asuka.
Carmella's title reign is very underrated. People don't really talk about it that much, but it was more entertaining than many of the title reigns that followed her.
Yeah, well, for most of the others, they probably drop it back and forth, so that doesn't help. As we said, Carmella charisma helps. She's more charismatic than most people who hold that title.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully she gets another title reign before she retires, but she definitely earned her place in this top. At number 3, we're switching back to Impact Wrestling because the queen of upsets is here. Taylor Wilde. Oh my god, like back in the day, we're talking about 2008, a long time ago. I know, we're both old. But Taylor Wilde defeating Awesome Kong, who dominated the whole damn company for almost a year, is something so big that I don't think newer generations will understand the impact it had back in the day. She was a fan from the crowd who kept coming as the most dominant champion ever in TNA history, and she kept coming back knowing that Kong decimated the whole Knockouts division, and when she won the title, it was just mind-blowing.
Yeah, nobody expected her, as you said, she was a fan. There was no chance she was winning. She didn't. I remember it like very clearly in my mind.
It was also nice the fact that for most of her title reign, which lasted about 4 or 5 months, I believe, she kept feuding with Kong. So she was still staying in the underdog role one more time. I think the only time that she moved away from Kong was her little feud with the Beautiful People, who once again were teaming up against her. It was a 2-on-1 situation. So the underdog role was still there.
there a while. Just for that, should be mentioned more often in the impact of the knockout. I feel like she's often forgotten, but people forget about that. Forget that she came out of nowhere to defeat probably one of women's wrestling's biggest threats in the ring, I would say.
So, I mean, Taylor should be talked about more. She was the third ever Knockouts champion, and everybody remember the first one that is Gail, the second one that is Kong, and what about Taylor?
Yeah, it doesn't get the recognition she deserved for everything she did. So even now, she's still an underdog in that regard. So at number 2, we have current SmackDown Women's Champion Liv Morgan, which again is an underdog since she began, and defeating both Ronda and Shayna in itself, that's pretty impressive.
Liv Morgan had a very controversial reign so far, but it is working character-wise because Liv Morgan had to build her name. She's been almost there so many times for so many years that now that she actually got there at the top of the mountain, it's time for Liv to prove everyone why she deserved this opportunity. I know the booking has been a little bit weird at times, like when she defeated Ronda in that SummerSlam match that you can watch my review over here. But I think it helps Liv Morgan to feel like an underdog. She's winning in some ways that aren't that traditional, but nonetheless, she's remaining champion. That's what counts for the underdogs.
Yeah, and I feel like up until then, and I don't want it to sound rude, but most of her career were built like on her being a failure or of getting those opportunities one after the other and always failing to succeed. So seeing her finally getting that chance, people have been behind her for so long.
Being honest, nobody really expected Liv Morgan to get that push after so many failures. I think it was so great that the fans didn't give up on Liv Morgan, because I was a bit worried that maybe people wouldn't really care about her anymore because it's been so long. They've been dragging Liv Morgan's title victory for so many months and even years. But I'm happy that she's getting the support from the fans. I mean, she got booed a couple times, but now she has bounced back. And after the title defense at Clash of the Castle against Shayna, I think she's on the right track. So we gotta wait and see what's gonna happen in another match against Ronda, though. Before we finish our list and our top pick, we gotta talk about some honorable mentions. Women who were also almost there, like Liv Morgan most of her career, but didn't reach the top. And the first one I got in mind, at least for me, is Nikki ASH. She's my honorable mention because similar to Liv, she won the title against a much bigger star, like in this case was Charlotte. After cashing in her Money in the Bank contract, she feuded with Charlotte and Rhea for all her title reign, and both of them were clearly superior.
So for my honorable mention, I'm gonna go with Natalia Diva's title reign. I mean, at the time, she was kind of in the midfield. I mean, for most of her career, she was defeating the likes of Leiku and feuding with them, and Melina, who are feuding with Leiku in a 2-on-1 situation for a while.
Yeah, and actually winning the title in a handicap match.
Yeah, Natalia's kind of an underdog in her career period as well.
To finish this list, we got our number one spot, and nobody can disagree with this because she was at the time the ultimate underdog. And so far, I believe there hasn't been anybody that has reached her level of not only likeness by the WWE Universe, but also playing the underdog role to perfection. And I'm talking about Bayley during her NXT title run. Bayley was a beloved babyface, and despite being great in the ring during her NXT run, she would always be seen as the underdog, considering the gimmick that she had. She was the hugger one, she loved kids, she was super happy, like the super fan. That doesn't really seem as a threat for anyone. So she won the title from Sasha Banks, who was probably at the peak of heel people during her NXT run, and that was so impressive. They got one of the greatest, if not the greatest, women's match in wrestling history for Bayley to win the title. And then most of her title defenses against the likes of Nia Jax and Asuka, they were always way more dangerous and menacing than Bayley. So she was always in the underdog role. Even with Eva Marie, when she did all the shenanigans and hired Nia Jax as a bodyguard, Bailey was still playing an underdog role even though she was facing Eva Marie. So she definitely made it work.
Who would have thought that someone facing Eva Marie will be an underdog?
I know, right?
Yeah, so Bailey, as you said, it was the perfect underdog story from her start in NXT to the finish pretty much of her NXT career. Probably nobody expected her to defeat Sasha, and they had a good feud after that. Defeated her twice in high-stakes matches, in which
she defeated Sasha in her first title defense in an Iron Woman match.
Like you said, against Nia, everybody thought she was gonna lose. Against Asuka, well, she did end up losing. And even against, weirdly, Eva Marie, as we said, that says a lot as well about who Bailey is as a wrestler.
So for now, Bailey definitely takes the crown as the top underdog champion in history, at least for us. Alright, so this was our top 10 of underdog champions. We mainly talked about WWE and Impact Wrestling. We were tempted to include AEW girls as well, but we didn't really know which one to choose. So hopefully next time that the AEW women's division is a little bit more organized, we can talk about more of the girls there, right? I want to thank you very much for being part of this video as well. I know it's been a while since you've been on the channel. I don't know if you would like to say something before finishing.
Well, as usual, thank you for having me. Always fun to talk about wrestling women history. In all the eras, they don't get the recognition they deserve for everything they do. Especially underdogs, we love them. Like we said, they had to work hard, all of them, to get their title win compared to other people that I'm not going to name.
So once again, I will leave your social media over here. If you want to follow Alexandra, that would be great. My social media over here, and I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you very much and stay safe. Goodbye.